What's happening, online guys? Welcome back to Sherlock Holmes, Crimes and Punishments. This is chapter, I was just looking at it too, dang, chapter 15, we're gonna guess. Although that seems pretty high. I'm pretty sure this is chapter 15. And in any case, whatever chapter it is, when we last left off, we're working on the Abbey Grange affair. So, we have a guy, I don't know where I was going with that. We have a man that's been murdered over yonder. He is a lord of sorts. We have a wife who was attacked, and a maid who was the person who discovered this all. Now the problem is, the wife is trying to tell us that the motive here was robbery. There's not any evidence to support this claim whatsoever. We found the missing items in question. Other items that should be missing aren't. The scene was clearly staged. There's just a lot of things going on here that just don't work in unison with one another. So now we have to kind of figure out what to do from here.
This door leads to the...
I'm pretty sure we've examined everything in this room that was possible. This is the dining room. This is where the murder took place. Can you tell me about Sir Eustace's reputation?
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it alight. Another day he threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Well, I'll let you know that the stolen silverware.
Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place. Or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
I definitely feel like it was just a temporary hiding place. Well... there definitely wasn't 3 people. So we have to look for a sailor who has clear ties to the lady here.
Holmes, don't look at me like that. I don't know what to think about it.
Oh, what a horrible thing. Please leave my Mary alone.
We have to look for possible sailor suspects. I don't know how we go about that. Archives, okay. Makes sense. Alright, so let's head back home. We'll check our archives and see what we can dig up. Toby's just over there chilling. This is definitely going to be a really quick case by the seams of things. Got that drink. Alright, so I'm looking for the archives. I want to look for 1893. Clear my throat there a bit. Rock of Gibraltar's arrival. This is from the Strand. Arrival of the Rock of Gibraltar. A ship returned. The Rock of Gibraltar, a bulk carrier from the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, Cunard Building, James Street, London, has returned from a 6-month voyage through India, New Zealand, and Australia. The ship brought to England Miss Mary Fraser, the heiress of the Fraser family, owning land and tin mines in Australia. This reportedly beautiful young lady is presently engaged to Sir Eustace Brackenstall, one of the wealthiest gentlemen in Kent.
Here it is.
So we got task for Wiggins now.
The shipping company, the Adelaide, Southampton, London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problems.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
Because, you know, definitely going to be better at this than we are.
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893, and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it, Holmes?
My secret police is better than the Yard in many ways.
Secret police. 3 hours later.
Here it is, Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins.
All right. Check this
This
register out.
list shows the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th.
Okay, so that's the 12th, 28th, 17th, 2nd. So it can't be this one because they were arriving on the 12th. '95. What the hell? I might be overlooking something here. This one right here departs on the 10th.
Mr. Jack Crocker was in London upon the date of the crime, and he is due to depart in 2 days.
Duncan, no. Peter, no. Nail. George. Frank. Murdoch.
This list shows the...
That has to be it, because Duncan's not on the list.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
So they want me to just cross it all off. Okay.
This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the time of the crime. This officer was on a ship that sailed half a month ago. He wasn't in London at the time of the crime.
So the only one it could be is Jack. It's the only one that makes sense. But I still have to cross my T's and dot my I's. So I have to prove that Jack's the only
This officer is still at sea,
suspect.
therefore he cannot be involved. This officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved. Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one around at the time of the murder.
All right. So it looks like we have a heading.
This Crocker, do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him.
Wiggins. Got some
Wiggins,
more work.
could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
Sometime later.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why.
So I brought you here about Lady Brackenstall.
You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her, from when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that of mere passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You... and what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right, if there was no evidence.
What then?
Well, you see. Honest. Strong build. Newspaper ink. Clean boots. Peculiar. Sea knife. Ooh. That knife, though. You tied her up.
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night of the murder. And it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Well, the sailor's knots, for one.
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now. Your theory is flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night?
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Holmes, what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No, there is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
I'm almost positive the captain is the killer here. If it's not the captain, the only other people to blame are the Randalls. And there's no way, there's no substantial evidence that it could be the Randalls. Has to be the captain. Now here comes the fucking moral choice. This sucks. So we can either arrest Captain Croker for murder, or we can absolve Captain Croker in light of him committing self-defense for Lady Brackenstall. I'm not happy with myself, but we're arresting the dude.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Barely an hour has passed.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit her, for I believed that she was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare when he barged in. He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. And it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to do with it.
I
now
believe
it is
that.
time to end this.
Ooh, good thing I got those good reflexes. God damn. Oof. Let's go.
Should have let me die. How can I live if Mary suffers?
I am sorry, Captain Crocker, but there has been quite enough death in this case. Inspector, I give you Sir Eustace's killer. He tried his best to perform his own justice.
Well, I'm not surprised. Yes, it was me. I confess.
Here is a piece of evidence that can be used in court.
Perfect. A case that went smoothly for once.
Yeah, really. The Abbey Grange affair. Sir Eustace was murdered by Captain Jack Crocker, who was visiting Lady Brackenstall that night. They staged it as a robbery by the Randall gang. Croker used his sea knife to cut the bell rope to tie the lady and then hid the silverware in the well. He committed a violent crime for which he deserves a condign punishment. I don't even need to hold space because I know we're right. We found all the clues. Our conclusion's raised. That's just the decision. That's how it's going to end. Personality ranking, just. 94% of people were able to solve that case. I mean, it wasn't really a hard one. 35% made the same choice. That means, what am I looking at here? 65% of people, I don't know why it took me so long to figure that one out. 65% of people actually abstained him. Like I said, that's not, I get it. I really do. I don't hold anything against anyone that abstained that guy. We're here to solve a crime, and that's what we did. I feel as though we did the right thing. The Kew Gardens drama. On to our next case.
Holmes, for heaven's sake, whatever's going on?
Oh, hello, Watson. You're early. Did you kill all of your patients?
What? Holmes, where have all these wretched bees come from?
I increased the temperature of the room so as to prevent them from hibernating. I needed to take a sample of honey. But it worked, Watson. We will have honey all year round.
Ridiculous and dangerous.
They're domestic bees, Apis mellifera, such industrious workers. Anyway, Watson, I am sorry, but I must leave you. I'm in rather a hurry.
You have a new case?
Yes, but nothing as thrilling as this experiment. A theft of plants at the Royal Botanic Gardens in Kew. I'm helping a minister who's an old friend of mine. You can join me if you like.
Well, I'll admit that I'd far rather accompany you than remain alone here with these workers of yours. Besides, you'll need a helping hand with the flowers you're intending to bring back.
Watson, however did you guess?
For the great Sherlock Holmes to bother with the theft of plants. Come on, admit that you're planning to spoil your little bees with some rare pollens.
Since when did I become so transparent? Let us go.
Watson got that good, huh? All right, what did we get from that one? We got silver fork. Fork. Mr. Holmes, I'm writing to inform you that the affair at the Abbey Grange, which took place almost half a year ago now, still resonates deeply in high society and remains the subject of much gossip. The case's romantic background has attracted many suitors who show willing to shelter and take pity on Lady Brackenstall. But to this date, she still serves her sentence with her maid, Theresa, and has rejected all offers of help. To be truthful, I suspect that the true motivation of these suitors may well be related to Sir Eustace's title and money. What do you think, Mr. Holmes? Sincerely yours, Inspector Lestrade. If I had the choice, I would definitely not have implemented Lady Brackenstall into the case, but didn't have that choice.
Well, Holmes, here we are at the Royal Botanic Gardens. There's no doubt that this place is beautiful. But are you really intent on investigating the theft of the plants?
Yes, of course.
We need something to do, Watson.
Don't touch anything else, is that clear? Just go and get a bucket of fertilizer. And without turning it over this time. Good day to you, gentlemen. How may I help you? If you are here for a visit, please do come back on Sunday.
I am afraid that it cannot wait. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my friend and colleague, Dr. Watson. We are investigating the theft of plants that took place here 5 days ago. A remarkable collection, I believe.
So you're the one in charge, eh?
A small favor for a friend. Now, to whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
I am Martin Hamish. I am the Deputy Director of Kew Gardens. And that fellow yonder is Albert. He works here.
I am delighted to meet you. What can you tell us about the plants?
They were rare and exceptional plants. We presented them at our last exhibition. We haven't removed the stand yet. It is still in the large glass house. We only learned of their disappearance the evening after the exhibition, and nobody saw anything.
No doors were forced?
No, but I would imagine that for a thief it would be fairly easy to gain entry, for there are no guards here.
Well, if you don't mind, we will take a look. Now, you say that it is in the large glass house.
Yes, the one just behind me. Just a second, since Albert has nothing else to do. Albert, show these gentlemen where the exhibition was held.
How many people work here?
Only myself, but occasionally 2 students, Albert, whom you have met, and Miss White.
Okay.
Here it is. This is the place where the stolen plants were exhibited.
Thank you. Is there something the matter?
Yes, there is. All right, the plants were valuable and rare, but it seems to me that the tragedy that took place here only 2 days ago has been entirely forgotten already.
What tragedy are you referring to?
The director of Kew Gardens, Mr. Montague Dunn, he died here just 2 days ago.
We're very sorry. We were not aware. The 2 of you were good friends?
He was my father.
Oh dear. Our condolences. We should not be troubling you. Please do excuse us for the intrusion.
You say that he died here, in the large glass house?
Holmes?
Yes, just here, near the door to the Colonial Collection. He suffered a heart attack. Just like that. So suddenly. It was terrible. Excuse me, gentlemen, but I cannot remain here. If you need me, I'll be in the reserve. That's the room next to the front of the large greenhouse.
Of course, we understand.
It's odd that that didn't come up prior. Even if it was a natural death, a death nonetheless.
Do not touch.
The plants were here. All of them was stolen. Here is a list of the stolen plants. According to Albert, this is where his father, Montague Dunn, was found dead. The traces are thinner in some places. These boot marks are fresh. It appears as though someone was dragging their feet. The footprints reveal that someone staggered here. The door was smashed at shoulder height. This door handle is new. It was recently changed.
That could be part of the break-in. Oh, yes.
The esconsson was breached near the handle. The door was forced from the inside of the Colonial Collection Room. The handle was changed afterwards.
I think we need to inspect the Colonial Collection Room.
Soil. It should have come from a flower pot. The soil on the side of this flower shelf is the same as that on the ground. Blood. This sign is broken. Something heavy was dropped upon it. Someone fell violently against this sign, and they were injured in the clash, most likely a head wound. According to this, they have light and moisture control in some parts of the building. Water lily greenhouse.